Looking for real answers? Meet Bob the Psychic, Scottsdale's #1 psychic. Join live readings with Bob the Psychic every Monday night on Soul Search TV. Real people, real questions, real clarity. Bob connects directly with your energy using psychic insight, tarot, mediumship to bring guidance on love, career, family, finances, and your life path. His readings cut through confusion, offer validation and hope, and help you move forward with confidence and trust. Every Monday, 7 p.m. MST. Watch free on Soul Search TV, YouTube, or Facebook, or reserve your spot to join the Zoom room for a live reading. Experience clarity that changes everything. Limited spots available, so sign up before they're gone. What if your biggest challenges didn't start in this lifetime? Join internationally renowned past life reader Donna Hartley for a powerful Soul Search TV experience. Discover how your past lives are shaping your current relationships, fears, talents, and life path. During this live event, Donna will read selected participants and uncover the root patterns your soul is ready to heal. When you understand your past, you transform your present. Purchase your ticket and submit your information in advance to be read live. Join us on Soul Search TV. Your soul remembers. Are you ready to? What if you could get a live psychic reading and finally get real answers? Join internationally known psychic medium Greg Stanley for a powerful night of live intuitive readings on Soul Search TV. Get clarity on your relationships, life path, career, and the patterns shaping your future. And when spirit comes through, Greg delivers messages from loved ones with honesty and heart. Using tarot and intuitive insight, his readings are direct, accurate, and deeply transformational. To receive a live reading, you must purchase a ticket in advance. Readings are limited and fill quickly. Your answers are waiting. Are you ready to hear them? Do you ever feel overwhelmed, like you're working hard but not getting the results you expected, or searching for deeper meaning and clarity? What if the answers were already written in your birth date? Welcome to Decode Your Destiny with Mantra Numerology. Numerology is the science of numbers, revealing the hidden patterns shaping your life, your karma, and your path forward. Using a unique method, Manet uncovers your destiny program, your strengths, challenges, and the cycles you're here to break. She reveals how your past experiences and karmic patterns may still be shaping your present, and how to move forward with clarity and purpose. Join us live on Soul Search TV. Watch real-time readings or receive one yourself, because your numbers already hold the code to your life. The Soul Search Concord Enlightenment Expo is bringing together healers, psychics, astrologers, spiritual teachers, and holistic health and wellness experts all in one place. You can
Hello, everybody, and welcome to everybody joining us live here and everybody joining us via live stream wherever you are in the world. We're so grateful that you're here. You are in for a treat. We are all together. No such thing as time or space. So just tune in with us, feel our arms around you wherever you are. And thank you, everybody here, for joining us live for day 2 of Irvine. It's been a pretty magnificent weekend and a really special day today. The energy is shifting. We are all part of it in this time of ascension and collective healing. And it is very timely that we have our next speaker today, who not only is a magnificent ambassador for healing and peace in the world. I'm also very blessed to call her my soul sister and friend,
Yes.
Onya Sorensen. Onya is not only a paranormal investigator, lifelong intuitive channeler, and healer from Sedona, Arizona. She is also the ambassador for the incredible Palinet crystal that came, open your minds here, came from a planet 130 light years away called Trintin. This crystal was once a spacecraft which crashed and crystallized upon impact outside of Amarillo, Texas, over 1,000 years ago, and is raising the frequency of people all over the world, creating a sacred grid around the planet. It is Onya's lifelong mission now to facilitate this healing and around the world. And I have had many experiences with the amazing tools that Onya and her partner Mark use and create and present to us to be able to be a part of this healing. And I had my very first experience, I'm going to quickly share, my very first experience with Mark and Onya. It was my very first talk with them. I was setting up the camera and the lights, and I was there in the talk, and they were doing their amazing work with the Palinet crystal with everyone in the room. And I suddenly felt, and they were calling in the Trintinians, and the beings on the planet of Trintin. And all of a sudden I felt this presence from behind, just completely, almost like someone was wrapping their arms around me. And I'm a spiritual person, and I'm on my journey, but I'm also a skeptic. And so I don't believe everything. And I thought, okay, this could be a lot of things. But then it just got warmer and warmer and more intense. And then as I looked at the crowd, I saw these tall columns of light behind every single person who was in this meditation that Mark and Onya were doing at that moment. And at that moment, I felt this safety and this peace, kind of a feeling of home. And it was really, really beautiful. Yeah. So I have been just so grateful for their work and presence in the world and everything that they do next. And she's going to tell you all about it and all of their next coming up. So without further ado, let's welcome Onya Sorensen.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for having me here today. Yes, that was quite the introduction. Thank you, Barbara. All right. Well, I'm going to just start first with a little bit about the history of the crystals. And then I'm going to go into a little bit more about how we know what they do and how they do things. And then after that, if we have time, I'm going to take some volunteers from the audience to show you a little bit about what these crystals can do. So, as Barbara had mentioned, I'm a healer, paranormal investigator, psychic. I got a metaphysical bag, if you will, of different plethora of things that I do. I'm originally from Sedona, actually originally from California, but I'm from Sedona, Arizona, and I'm a lifelong intuitive. So therefore, I've developed quite a bit of things that I have done throughout my life, including being a channel is one of them, you could say, where I taught people how to channel their angels and their guides with 100% success rate for over a decade. I've also done probably thousands of name readings. I specialize in something called name reading, which I also do today, if that's something you're interested in over at our table. Name reading is kind of similar to astrology, or it gives you your personality blueprint. So I've done thousands of name readings. I've also worked with a background of hypnotherapy and NLP. And for the past 6 years, I've also been doing something that is called the GAP program, Global Awakening Program, with my partner, Mark Sorensen. And basically, we took both of our techniques and healing modalities, combined them, and created this program. And this program is a way that we take a client, we facilitate a client to get to the root issues of whatever it is that ails you. And when I say whatever, I do mean whatever. So Mark and I have a gift too, where we can speak and communicate to just about any consciousness, be it galactic, alien, or a tumor that you might have on your brain. Like, it's really variable. So everything has an energy frequency, and everything has to it some type or form of consciousness. And usually pains that ail us will have a lot to say about why they are ailing a client. So this program that we created actually is very much, how shall I say it, coherent. When you do something like hypnotherapy, you go under and you don't have so much control over what's happening. What we do is we facilitate the session through speaking on behalf of the client's hearts. The heart is where you have all the answers. And we show you how to speak on behalf of your heart and get to the root issue of whatever it is that ails you. So we've had a lot of success with that, to the extent that we actually teach people to do what we do with this program. We have a beginners, intermediate, advanced, and a mentorship with this program. We work on ancestral work. We work on RNA and DNA. We work on dimensional work. So there's many dimensions. We're all multidimensional beings. And so as you go further into the healing process and you clear this lifetime of things, it's usually connected to other lifetimes. And as you guys all know, there's really no such thing as time. It's really all happening right now. But our awareness is expanding to understand more about how that now is affecting us. So what I mean by that is we clear multidimensional timelines with the client, and those are affecting your reality too right now. So helping to remove everything that is not you so you can be the best version of you is what GAP is about. Mark and I came together in 2020 in Sedona, Arizona. We met and we had an incredible initial connection with each other. One of the biggest things was finding out that we had so much in common with the healing modalities, put together our healing modalities. We got married within about 6 weeks of meeting each other and combined our work and opened an office in Sedona. And we're having a great time with that. And while we were having a great time with that, we were offered to be stage managers at a 10-day UFO conference. That 10-day UFO conference, there was a gentleman speaking there. He is the owner of the Palinet crystals. His name is Dwayne Ollinger. Dwayne Ollinger hosts, or is actually the main character in a show called The Mystery of Blind Frog Ranch. And he was speaking that day when we were doing the stage management. Before we even went to go do the stage management, though, we felt very called and pulled to do this. And one of the reasons was that we felt we were going to meet Dwayne and we were going to do paranormal investigation on his Blind Frog Ranch. Sure enough, we did end up doing that. But that day at the UFO conference, what he was speaking about was his long relationship with General Jeremiah of the Unified Galactic Federation. Now, the Unified Galactic Federation are actually humans that are up in ships that protect our Earth from different things. Yes, this is what he was speaking about that day. So he's speaking about that day about things that he couldn't talk about on his TV show. And he went in extensively to share about how he actually met General Jeremiah of the Unified Galactic Federation. And the way he met him is a very unique story. So I'm just going to touch a little bit on that. It's a little bit of his story and our story and how it comes together. So his story basically is that he is a Texan who moved to Utah, bought this property, which you hear now is Blind Frog Ranch. And he didn't know a lot about how the land worked necessarily to drill and to dig for either oil or gold or minerals there. So he hired a couple of geologists to help him with that were familiar with the land. When he hired these gentlemen, he did not know that one of them was General Jeremiah of the Unified Galactic Federation. I think that they probably knew who Dwayne was. But when he hired them, they showed him where to drill a hole in order to hit something. They said, you will hit something. You need to go approximately 150 feet down in this one particular area and you will hit something. And then they showed him another area to dig a hole and go approximately 75 feet down and hit something. Well, that something that he hit was pure blue dirt. It had taken all day long for his crew to drill this big hole, which is like probably that big. If you go on Blind Frog Ranch, you will see it. They call it the Energy Center. And when he hit that blue dirt, they kept drilling for a while, and it was about 5 feet of pure blue dirt, and then it went brown. And in the other area where they had drilled, same thing, blue dirt. So it kind of shows that there's a line of dirt blue dirt going on underneath there. Well, that day when they hit the blue dirt, it put an energy out into the field. And he didn't quite notice it that day. So he goes back to their hotel where they're staying at. This is in the Utah Basin. So it's about a 40-minute drive to get back to the city. And when he gets back to the city, Dwayne gets a text, and the text says, I'm sorry, but you can't go back to the land right now because you've alerted the Galactics up there. Now, Dwayne was not familiar with anything to do with anything of out of this world at that time, or metaphysical, if you will, or UFOs or anything like that. He is a man who has a history of drilling for oil, being from Texas. He even calls himself a redneck. He's a really down to earth guy, but that's kind of give you a little more about his personality and what he was used to. And he gets this text saying, "You and your crew should not go back to the land." And he's like, "What do you mean?" I'm alerted, like, "Who's up there? What do you mean uppers? Or what's up there? What are you talking about?" And says, "You could possibly be in some danger from what you had done when you hit that blue dirt. It put an energy field out, and it's got some attention, if you will, from up there." So Dwayne said, "You know what? I'm not going to listen to this. I'm responsible for my career. I'm responsible for what I've done. And I want to understand more about this." So he gets in the vehicle, puts a couple guys in the vehicle with him in the truck, and he drives back to the land. It's like late. It's about 10 o'clock at night. And he comes up on a cliff area of the land. And as he does, he gets another text, and it says, "Well, since you didn't listen to us, we're sending you protection." And again, he's a little dumbfounded by it. Like, "Well, what do you mean?" And he said, pretty much in the blink of an eye, he looked up and he saw 9 spaceships right over their head. 3 round ones in a row, making 9 of them, 3 rows of them. And in his words that day, they were so close you could reach up and change the oil on. And they hung out. And they hung out for as long as his crew was hanging out, which was for a little while, about an hour, I think. And that energy zone is still there to this day. That was several years ago. And but that began his relationship with General Jeremiah of the Unified Galactic Federation. Those were humans in that ship that day. That was the Unified Galactic Federation that came over his head. To this day, I don't know why, and I don't think Dwayne has known or has shared what exactly was in the energy field that was alerting them up there. But you can feel it. So when we went on the land, we could definitely feel that energy zone. A lot of people can feel that energy zone. Thus, there's a TV show, Mysteries of Blind Frog Ranch. That energy zone can even stop equipment from working while he's drilling. It's stopped a lot of equipment more than one time. So that day, though, when he was speaking, he was also speaking about how that relationship that he developed with General Jeremiah was very interesting, to say the least. One of the things was that his daughter was on her deathbed in the hospital due to a disease, and it was a blood type disease that was incurable, and she only had a couple more days or so to live. And the Unified Galactic Federation, General Jeremiah, said, "We would like to help you. We would like to, what we call, put boots on the ground and go in to hospital and heal your daughter for you." And of course he said, "Well, yeah, I'd be open to that." And so they flew a ship over the hospital, and the ship was over the hospital, and interdimensionally, etherically, not visible to the naked eye, let's just say it that way, beings came down from the ship, went into the hospital, and healed his daughter. She was released in 2 days. Now, when she was laying on the bed, she said angels came to her and healed her. She saw light beings, light hands that actually reached out to her. They looked like angels to her. She feels that they were angelic. She became the miracle of the hospital. And Dwayne became incredibly grateful that his daughter is alive and well to this day. So this relationship with General Jeremiah, he, at one point, General Jeremiah ended up passing away. And on his deathbed, Dwayne had promised him that he would get the word out that there is more out there than we're being told. And there's a lot more out there than we're being told, which I'm sure everybody in this room can agree. In many, many, many sections of our life. Like, do UFOs exist? Does the Unified Galactic Federation exist? Are there things that are beyond us that we can't see or understand or feel that are happening around us? So he made a promise to him that he would get the word out there that there are things that are happening. And that's what Blind Frog Ranch is essentially about, is to bring awareness that there is more that is happening than meets the eye. And so he's been doing his best to get people to understand that through the show. And if you watch the show, they're actually digging for gold. And true enough, there probably is gold buried there. They've got these tunnels underneath that look like they have all the signs for the maps for the Spanish gold to be buried there with booby traps underneath there. Now, these tunnels, if you dig and you hit a tunnel, it strikes water. And that's one of the things that the ancients had done is they had booby trapped it that way that if you were digging for the gold, you would drown. Well, what happened was he dug for it in this one area and water came out and made a pond. And these frogs that had never seen the light of day were blind. And that's how it got Blind Frog Ranch name. That pond, though, has been radiating a frequency that has been healing people. And so he also spoke about that day, about how a gentleman went and got into the water and his back got better. Another woman, her eyes got better. She could see better. And so there's this healing pond going on there too, which was interesting. What's going on with that? When Mark and I went and did paranormal investigation on that land, we were totally floored by the frequencies going there. We both had never felt anything like this anywhere on Earth. Now, I'm a lifelong intuitive. I've been feeling a lot of things in an extrasensory way since I was a baby. And my husband, Mark, has been to over 100 countries and intuitive and psychic as well. And he never felt anything like this either. So when we were there, we couldn't even speak. There were so many different energetics going on. One, that energy field is there that was talked about that day. You can't see it with your visual eye, but you can definitely feel it. There are many portals going on. People have talked about how they see lights flickering and orbs flying around. And we got into that pond, for example, and we could feel our frequency was going up. So we muscle tested our frequency, and it was improving. We were in that pond twice, actually. We were in it with another gentleman at the time. And I bring that up because we camped on the land. And so we had our tent stuff there. And we were in the pond, and it was a quiet day. It was sunny. And when I mean quiet, I mean there was no wind. And we heard a noise. And this noise we heard was like an engine sound. The engine that we heard was not from here. So we all kind of looked at each other because we hear the sound. We're like, it's not the wind. It's not a plane. And it's making a noise. And we just kind of all look at each other like, And then it got quiet right over our head. And then when it got quiet over our head, we looked at each other and we're like, that was interesting. And all of a sudden there was this huge whoosh. And this huge whoosh of wind was so strong that our tent got knocked over. All of our camp supplies went flying. That's how strong it was. So we felt it was a cloaked scout ship that came over our head. That was the sound of the engine. And checked us out, and then it took off. So people have interesting experiences there, to say the least. I did encounter the Palinet crystal the first time there. Now, this is not where the crystal comes from, but he had a paint bucket, if you will, of the Palinet crystals there, and he had put them in the energy zone, I think, to see how they would affect the energy frequencies there. And he put one in my hand that day as he was taking us around on a side-by-side to see the land. And I was like, whoa, this is definitely not from this world, but I was a little bit buzzy from everything else happening, and I put it aside for the moment. So Mark and I give him the download of what we feel is going on that land. One of the things that we felt was going on that land is that there's a buried ship there. We could both feel and sense it in the tunnel, about 100 feet down, and the tunnel itself is about 50 feet. Excuse me. It's about 50 feet or so. And we both in our inner vision could see this ship there. We're not the only intuitives that have told him that, I think. So I think he's had more than one message about that. So as we were giving him information, though, about these certain hot spots and things that were going on, Dwayne would keep a poker face for the most part. He'd shake his head and go, yeah, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, okay, that's interesting. And can you tell me more about X, Y, and Z? And we tell him more. We're developing a relationship with him. And he said, at the end of it, he says, I really like the things you're sharing with me. I feel it's pretty accurate. I like you guys. And I was wondering if maybe you might want to come do paranormal investigation on my other properties. We're like, sure, where are they? One's in New Mexico, one's in Texas. So we went and did that. We went to New Mexico. New Mexico is a Bigfoot property. To this day, if you go on Dwayne Ollinger's Instagram, scroll down a bit, you will find feet this big and my husband's foot that big next to the big feet from the property. Dwayne has also had pictures on the animal cam of a hairy face with two eyes looking at it. We did communicate with a benevolent Bigfoot clan there more than once, and that could be a whole other story on itself. It was a lot of fun. But from there, we went over to Texas. 20 miles outside of Amarillo, Texas, to be exact, and a ranch land way out there, 80 acres of land. He takes Mark and I out there with a side-by-side, and we go out on the outlook lots of dirt, if you can imagine, 80 feet, 80 acres. And it kind of is like a crater form going down like this. You got to take a side-by-side or a rough hike to get down into it. And he goes, well, where do you guys want to go? And we both point the same direction, that way, because we can feel the energy that way. That way is where the crystals come from. He took us on a side-by-side down there, and we went down there, and this frequency energy was only one type of energy, very different from Blind Frog Ranch. And it felt like I was on an advanced earth. It felt pure, pristine, and like everything was more alive than it was. You know, the vision that's kind of coming to me is water. You ever taste like tap water's dead and then you taste spring water and it's alive? So that's what I mean by that kind of contrast. So I'm standing on the earth and it just rained and it was like breathing. It's like I had a breath to it. And it was like, well, I haven't had anything to make me feel this way, but I feel it. And out of the ground are these crystals glistening. And Mark and I are tuning in and we're getting the information and we just say it. We're like, whoa, Dwayne. First of all, our frequency is like going up. We can feel it. The energy is just so pure, pristine. It's like it's clearing and cleansing our aura. And Mark's over here doing muscle testing, going like this, thousands. And he's like, we're going up in frequency. I said, yeah, it's amazing. And we both say pretty much at the same time, we're just kind of bouncing off of each other. This is a ship, and it crashed. It was an interdimensional ship. And upon impact, when it crashed, it mixed with the earth elements. But the consciousness of the ship is alive in these crystals. And the beings that were on this ship are benevolent. We're getting about seventh dimension at the time. And wow. Dwayne's over here with the poker face again. Oh, it's interesting. Cool. Tell us some more. You know, and we're like, yeah, these crystals are like out of this world, literally amazing. So, you know, so at that point, Mark does some more muscle testing with his fingers like this. It's like, well, what's the frequency of these crystals? And he gets 130,000 hertz. That's really high. It's like, all right, well, why don't I pick up some of these crystals and take them back to my office? So we do. So we go back to his office space. And when we go into this area, he's got this Tesla device out of copper that he has created, if you will. I call it a Tesla device. I don't know what to call it. But it's an energetic device. It was round with copper that goes around like this. And it's got copper strings coming out of it. In the middle of it is a Palinet crystal like this. And then it's got a couple of wires coming this way and these rods you can hold on and a little digital readout machine. And he shows us basically that the crystal is 130,000 hertz. We're like, oh, wow, that's cool. He goes, yeah. He goes, I'm going to show you something else. He goes, I got an email from General Jeremiah of the Galactic Federation on how they did the testing on the land of where those crystals come from. Here are 5 soil samples. And out of these 5 samples, it shows elements from Earth. And then it shows an exact percentage of everything, you know, your iron, so forth, copper. And then it shows an element not from here percentage. And it's called Palinet. Palinet is not found from here. So they did a report, and he shows the email from General Jeremiah. And on this report, which you guys can go on my website and see, stated 2012 from General Jeremiah. We did a testing on all this, and we found element not from here in the soil, and it's called Palinet. Palinet is only found in one place, 130 light years away from here. And it's found on a planet called Trintin. That's what the email says. And it says that it's a metal on their planet that they use to make spaceships with. We're like, wow, we were pretty accurate. That's pretty cool, you know? And Dwayne's like, you know, yeah, I've been waiting for the right people in the right time for this to actually start to come out to the public. So he'd been sitting on this knowing that these weren't from here. He knew they had energetic properties. And then we come along and we give him such accurate information. He says, why don't you take some of these crystals with you back to Sedona and see what you can do with these high vibe crystals. Excuse me. So we did. And what we did initially is we tuned into the Trintinians that are connected to their ship still. Think of the ship being alive, conscious and alive. And communicating with the Trintinians, we said, we want to do some things with these crystals. They said, well, first of all, we got to lower the frequency on them because they're too high for people to even be aware of them or come in contact with them. Think about like attracts like. So they lowered them down at that time to 10,000 hertz to be able to go into the hands of the public. And then we had a conversation with them. We said, well, you're probably going to get exchanged for something called money. We tried to explain that to the Trintinians at the time. Trintinians go, well, hold on a second. Aren't you like the highest in your food chain on your planet? And as far as we understand, like deers don't pay tree to have shade, but you're a higher caliber than the deer in the tree. I said, this is why you're here to help us, right? So it was interesting. One of the first conversations with them that I had. And so what we did is we took these crystals back to our office and we took about 100 of them. We put them in a pyramid format, touching each other underneath a massage table. And then we put a flyer around town and we said, you know what? We're going to have an open house where you can come get on our crystal healing bed for free. So it attracted people more than once. That's what we wanted. We data collected people's experiences for 3 months. Every Sunday we had an open house. And so what we did is we would muscle test their frequency before they got on the bed and then after they got off the bed. And so let's say somebody's frequency starts off at 500 hertz. They get off the bed at 900 hertz, and then they come back a week later. Let's say her name's Mary. So Mary, we would check her frequency and she'd be at 900 hertz. She did not drop down. And then she'd go up to 1500 or 2000 hertz. Now translate, like, what does that really mean? That's what I'm going to explain. But I just wanted to share with you that we data collected for those first 3 months, and we saw no one's frequency was dropping down, and everyone's was going up, and everyone was having neutral or very benevolent experiences on this bed. Some people were astral traveling to other worlds. Some people went to the planet Trintin. Some people communicated with the Trintinians. Some people just felt pure peace and relaxed. Some people felt physical elements changing around them, like their body pains were going away. So everyone was having unique experiences, but they were all good. We let Dwayne know that, and he ended up coming out to our office and seeing our bed, and he said, this is great. He goes, I would really like to get this crystal out to the public and see what we can do with getting it out there. He goes, I want people to value it. So he's the one who said, since we're going to put a value on it so people can respect what it can do. So what we've been sharing with most people is it's next level after moldavite. Now, if you're familiar with moldavite is the crystal of transformation. And sometimes it can be harsh. People report back it can be intense. Not everybody, but a lot of people do. They say, if you really want your life transformed, think about the tower moment of the tarot cards. Moldavite will come into your life, strip everything away so that you can build it up again. Some people get intense headaches. Some people feel a rush of flutter and energy. It's too much. Not all people, but it's been known to do that. So just like rose quartz can softly open up your heart, shungite can protect you, certain crystals can ground you. Well, moldavite is a tektite that crashed. It was a meteorite that crashed. And you've also got the energy of that intense crash from the moldavite that people feel. Now, what I'm going to show you back here is something that we use. It's called the Map of Consciousness. This is created by Dr. David Hawkins. He's now passed away, but he was an author and a teacher who was a psychiatrist who reached enlightenment. And he wanted to make sense out of spirituality. So he's really well known for this. It's called the Map of Consciousness. You can actually just Google it, Dr. Hawkins Map of Consciousness Images. This will come up. And this is a graph that shows 0 up to 1,000. And basically, he discovered that through kinesiology muscle testing, you can find out the frequency of anything and everything. And so, according to Dr. Hawkins, you might only go up 2 to 3 hertz in a lifetime on the scale. Now, the scale it starts here at 0 and goes up to 1,000, 1,000 being enlightenment. If you look on here, unconditional love is at 500 hertz. It's the blue zone right here, which just so happens to be the frequency of rose quartz. Moldavite has a frequency of 722 hertz here in the purple zone, enlightenment. This is why it's so transformative, because most people are radiating around 300 or 400 in the green zone here. So it'll pull you up and transform your life and get you up here. This crystal today is now radiating at 35,000 hertz, Palinet is. So it had went down to 10,000 hertz 4 years ago, and it has slowly been going up as humanity has been ready for it. It has now been out globally. It's going to different places around the planet, and we discover that everywhere it goes, it's creating a grid and raising the frequency. So when you come in contact with this crystal initially, it will start to collapse trauma bubbles, heal the unconscious, subconscious, and do different things, whatever's the easiest thing to go. And it will shoot a person up super fast, super quick in the initial contact, is what we've discovered. When you have one of these, it works with you very gently. You don't just go up thousands of hertz every day. If so, I'd be floating right now. I wouldn't be standing right here. But it does work with you uniquely in very different ways. I translate it into, it gets you on your higher timeline, because it works with people uniquely and individually. It can work on physical elements. It can work on emotional. It can work on different things in your life. I have seen it do many different things with people, but it works with you where you're at. And so I've observed that. The more you work with it, the more it works with you. So anyway, so that day, going back to when we were at the office, he said he'd really like to get it out to the public. And initially, that's where this hall started. We ended up closing our office down and getting on the road and doing events like this. We go vend at an event, and we give out what we call crystal blessings, which you can get at the booth today if you'd like. Basically, we check your frequency here on this chart. Let you hold 2 crystals, 1 in each hand, and in about a minute, we see how high you go up from connecting with the crystals. It is a permanent raise in frequency. That's why we call it a blessing, because you're literally dissolving things without having to go through the things we normally go through. Crying, tears, pain, fasting, different things like that. No fun. Will you still go through things if you have this crystal? Yes, but it seems to be easier and faster. The higher you go up in frequency, it seems to be more intense and quicker. So now, in the past 4 years, we would say everyone goes up in here, what we call the unknown zone. And over time, we have been collecting data from people. And now we have created a new chart. This chart right here, we call it the Harmonic chart. And Mark put this together over the last few years. And basically, it starts here at about 200. It meets the map of consciousness over here at 500 hertz, which is where we really start to dissolve the ego and go into unconditional love. And it goes all the way up to over 100,000 hertz. And what we've discovered is that people working with our GAP program and with the crystals, they 50,000 hertz plus. And what we're finding is basically that in these realms, you are able to be the light and be the healing and radiate light quotient out to people and to places. So you're actually just like a walking healing pillar. This is how much energy you're putting out, but also people who are up in these ranges are doing grid work, planetary work, collective work. They've got a lot of clients. They're doing a lot of different things to help the planet in different ways, but they're doing it with more ease and grace than ever before. So how this affects the individual and the places has been really fun to do. I'd like to share with you guys over here. This is called a Palonette power plate. This is the world's first orgonite with Palinet in it. This is one of the products that it has evolved to, and it's pretty amazing in that you can put your drinks, your food, and your water, charge them, clear them on here. You can put this under your bed and sleep better. You can create grids with it. You can be creative with what you do with it. What we started to notice, so when you put it on the body, you'd feel relaxed. And then we noticed that it would take away pain. Oh, I got a headache. Put it right here. Wow. Starting to relax. I feel so much better, so it can alleviate pain. Then Mark decided with his coffee in the morning to take a small, medium, and large plate. So this is a medium. Small one's about this big, and a large is about this big. So he put the large one underneath his feet, and he'd sit there with his coffee. He put a medium one here and a small one on his head, and he created a healing chamber. And then he would do this 10 minutes every day. And we have a special AI that can scan the energetics and see what's going on in the body. So he did a report on himself every day, which I do have the report back at the booth. Anyways, the report is in different categories: physical, chakras, heavy metals, and parasites. And when I say physical, it shows his blood pressure improving. It shows his lung capacity improving. It shows his hormonal balance balancing. It shows his chakras opening up. It showed his parasites, for example, going from 25% down to, I think, 2.3%. This is over 5 months of time. He didn't change anything in his diet. Every day he'd get up and he'd feel great with doing this every day. And then he shared it with people and other clients and other people, and they started doing it. And so we're like, wow, this creates physical healing. That's amazing. So now we have developed a master plate, which is over at our booth today. The master plate is a 14-inch big plate like this, and it's 100 times stronger than these guys. You can go get on it for 2 minutes today. That's all it takes. This one is designed to work on your RNA and DNA and your chakras and emotional and mental and all of that, but really to get deep into the RNA and DNA. And you hold 2 Palinet power bars. They're made with resin. And that creates a circuit. So we've evolved to our latest thing in the last 2 weeks is our master DNA activation plate. Barbara was on it just the other day. She absolutely loved it. I mean, it's been interesting to see people's responses to it. So we've been putting Palinet with different types of modalities to see how we can assist. We also found out that the crystals and the plates can make plants grow 3 times faster. Palinet seems to be a life-giving crystal, an energy-giving crystal. Sometimes it can be too much energy where people can't sleep at night, so they take the crystal out of the room. We do not suggest sleeping with this crystal, but the plate in this format underneath the bed will relax you. It's interesting how when you use it in different ways, it will do different things. We also have our new crystal singing bowl set. Crystal singing bowls is a beautiful way to get the frequency out into the air with the different tones. We have played those crystal singing bowls a couple of times with other bowls, and it's actually brought out other notes that didn't exist in other bowls. And we have actually smelt on more than one occasion in the air the scent of ozone. So we're just tapping on this right now with the crystal singing bowls and how they are affecting the environment energetically in the air. I don't know if you know about ozone therapy, but that's been known to cure diseases. So we can actually smell that in the air. It's not chlorine, but it kind of has an intense smell like chlorine. Why it's doing that, I don't know yet. It's just really, we've been bringing this to the public and watching how it works with other modalities. And we've noticed that it's bigger than us and that it's creating a grid around the world everywhere it goes. And so people also connect with the Trintinians when they're wearing the crystal or working with it. And they're getting a lot of guidance from the Trintinians when they're working with it as well. And so that's been really interesting to watch people get beautiful messages from the Trintinians, similar to the Pleiadians, and the Arcturians are here to help with the ascension of the planet in many ways. So we're excited. We are also creating our first chemtrail buster, cloud busters. I don't know if you know, with Organite, they can make those ones that change the weather. They're really big. Right now, next week, I'm going to go see it. We just had one made with Palinet added to it. Mm-hmm. So seeing how that affects the chemtrails in the air. We will see. So where it goes, how it changes and shifts the weather. Does anybody at this point have any questions for me? Yes?
What's the name of the table? So I can go and see.
Love My Crystals. She just asked where we're located. We're on the back wall. Yeah. Does anybody have any other questions? Yes.
Where is the stone from?
20 miles outside of Amarillo, Texas. It crashed there. She asked where the stone is from. It came from the planet Trintin, which is 130 light years away from here. Upon impact, the ship mixed with the earth elements and crystallized. It's a high frequency crystal. Yeah, that's why it's called Palinet. We didn't name it that. It's right here. And I'm wearing it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
How does it know what planet it came from?
So as I was sharing a little bit earlier, when Dwayne took us back to his office, he brought an email that was from General Jeremiah of the Unified Galactic Federation and how they did the testing on the soil and the crystals, and they tested it. And they did 5 samples, and they found elements not from here, and then elements from Earth and 1 element not from here, and they called it Palinet. And they said the only place you find Palinet is on the planet Trintin, and it's actually a metal used to make ships.
But how do they know that that metal exists there?
I don't know how the Unified Galactic Federation knows that.
Oh. Okay.
I didn't have the relationship with them. I am the intuitive and psychic that was on the land with Mark, my husband, and we're both saying this is a ship, and it crashed upon impact. It mixed with the earth and it crystallized. And this is a high frequency crystal, and it's affecting our body. And then Dwayne pulls out the paperwork from the Galactic Federation and says, look, I have proof of this from them that it's a ship, and this is from Trintin. We didn't know from Trintin, so he's matching these 2 together. Mm-hmm. So we're the paranormal investigators that were matching his evidence. And then as we've gone forward to see how this affects people, my inner vision is that when the ship was intact and it was traveling and alive, and the beings are telepathically communicating with it, think like Avatar. And so when they would get off and on the ship, they would need their systems cleared and recalibrated to be the same frequency as a ship to travel interdimensionally. So let's say that's 130,000 hertz. They get off the ship and now they're 120,000 hertz to adapt to, say, Mars. Then they get back on the ship, they clear, recalibrate, let's take off together, right? Let's clear and recalibrate. I believe that program to clear and recalibrate is in here. And this is why it works so gently with our beings. This is a galactic technology that understands how the human body works. Because for the past 4 years, I've never had one complaint of anybody telling me of anything negative. Well, how does it do that? Some people are around Moldavite go, I got a headache. This is too high in frequency. That's at 722 hertz. These are at 35,000 hertz. So how does it do that? I don't know. I really don't know. But I do know that people are telling me that they feel better, that they're more peaceful. And when they're going through a challenging time, it's much easier. Synchronicities drastically improve in people's life. So if you have 2 of those a week, now you're going to have more of those. I just hear about people's lives shifting and changing more positively. I do feel too, as I said, I've got a background in metaphysics. I do feel that it works specifically with your DNA, and that the light workers, the indigos, the star seeds, the 144,000, the descended beings, if you will, that came here to help with the ascension of the planet, all have a unique DNA and soul code, and it understands how to work with you. And so it's those type of people and beings that really feel this, really connect with it, and then they take it into their world, and as they go up on this frequency right here, their healing practice that they already have will expand, or they'll go into that realm if they're not already and figure out what it is they're here to do and how they're going to do it. So it gets them on the fast track of ascension. And that's why this is being called the Ascension Stone. Another thing it does is it opens up your heart frequency. A lot of people say they feel it in their heart. I also see the ego dissolve. So there's a lot of people who go, I don't believe in that at all. And then they touch the crystal, and then you watch some of that ego dissolve, or the attachment or whatever it's going on does really stay away. We see both things. Yes.
How big is the ship? Are you going to run out of those?
I don't know. We're allowed to go on the property once a year. He doesn't let anybody on the property or a cell phone, and he won't excavate it right now. So it's just when it rains, it comes up.
You said it comes into, you can, sizes. Does it have to do with, if you buy a bigger one, will it have higher?
No, size doesn't matter. Size doesn't matter with it. What I'd like to do, though, I am in the last 5 minutes, is I'd like to take one person, I usually take 3, but I only got a couple minutes to do a frequency blessing with, crystal blessing. And anybody who wants to do it, you can also come back to the booth and I will do it for you. You. And your name? Alpa? Okay, if you just come on right in front of the camera. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to energetically connect with Alpa, and I'm going to make this really quick because we've only got a couple minutes left. I'm going to energetically connect with her, and I'm going to get her baseline frequency here on the map of consciousness. Everybody has a baseline frequency that you're born with, and as I was mentioning, Dr. Hawkins said you will only go up a couple hertz in a lifetime, 20 to 30 hertz if you're doing a lot of spiritual work. So I'm going to energetically connect with you. Ready? Okay, I just did. You're at 400, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 500. So 500 is the frequency of unconditional love. It's beautiful. You're right there. Okay, put one in each hand, and you're just going to allow. The consciousness of the crystal immediately scans your 9-dimensional bodies and seeing what's the easiest thing to be released. If you've been doing a lot of spiritual work, you've been working on a lot of things, healing works in layers, and so it gets to the root of it as quickly and gently as possible. If there are trauma bubbles that are ready to be collapsed, it will collapse them. Do you feel anything? Yeah. It's okay. It's gentle. So some people feel heat, cold, tingling, vibrations, or nothing at all. But a way you can logically look at this is it's 70,000 hertz of crystal mixing with your 500 hertz. Same way if you were to be in contact with something low frequency, it can make you sick, right? This is bringing you up. It's been really fun to watch plants that are going like this, and then they come in the room with the crystals, and they eventually go like that. When they're with the plants, they actually grow faster. We've done studies with that, with and without the crystal. Okay, that's all it takes. Let's just see from the initial contact, connecting with you. Your new frequency is at 500, still strong. 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 600, 10, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 700. So you went up to 700 hertz. So 200 hertz in just under a minute. That is permanent. So whatever it cleared, it was cleared permanently. Yay! Thank you. You're very welcome. All right. Well, thank you guys. Thank you so much for having me. Those online, you can go to our website, lovemycrystalswithaz.com. And if you want to learn more, you can go under What is Palinet. There are videos and a lot of information. You can see that email from General Jeremiah on our website under What is Palinet. Anybody here in the audience, if you'd like to come over to our booth and get a free crystal blessing or see any of our products, they are 20% off there. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Looking for real answers? Meet Bob the Psychic, Scottsdale's #1 psychic. Join live readings